The ballroom was hot with tension long before the cameras began rolling. Marble columns loomed behind the stage, and a sea of press badges flashed like sequins under the bright chandeliers of the Liberty Foundation's annual gala. Linda McMahon stood stage left, arms crossed, lip curled in satisfaction as she watched the crowd lean toward the stage. She was dressed in icy blue silk, stiff with money and steel. She'd been waiting for this moment, not just to present, but to finally cut Representative Jasmine Crockett down to size. "This isn't Congress, sweetheart," she whispered to one of the moderators, loud enough for Jasmine to hear as she approached the stage. Jasmine turned, her heels clicking like punctuation. "And you're not the boss of anything anymore." "But old grudges and broken dreams," she said evenly, smiling as if they were at tea. Linda's jaw twitched. The audience applauded, mistaking the frost between them for elegance. But beneath the surface, something ancient stirred. Resentments built not over months, but decades. "She's a show pony," Linda had told donors days earlier. "All hair and sound bites. I built an empire. She built a Twitter following." And now, under chandeliers that had once illuminated Reagan himself, Linda planned to humiliate Jasmine in front of every power broker in Washington. They sat opposite each other on stage, Jasmine in a tailored emerald suit, all sharp edges and control, Linda regal and smug, legs crossed, chin up. The moderator offered a question on equity in federal contracting. Linda lunged. "With all due respect," she began, which meant none. "I find it amusing that Representative Crockett lectures on business when she's never built one, never made payroll, never risked a dime of her own money. It's easy to shout about justice when you've never signed a paycheck." There was a flicker in Jasmine's eyes, not hurt, but calculation. The crowd shifted. "You know," Jasmine said slowly, "my mother was a nurse who worked 12-hour shifts to buy my school uniforms. I didn't inherit a wrestling empire. I didn't get an SBA position as a consolation prize. I earned every damn thing with brains and grit." A low murmur rippled through the room. Linda smirked. "You earned Instagram likes," she said. "And if you think retweets are currency, then yes, you're wealthy." Jasmine leaned forward, eyes like lit coal. "I think truth is currency. And my constituents are tired of being robbed blind by billionaires with bad instincts and worse, judgment." Linda recoiled, but she didn't blink. "You talk about truth," she hissed. "Where was your truth when the border was bleeding? When crime soared? When black kids killed other black kids in Chicago?" Gasps echoed like ricochets. Jasmine froze, not because she was stunned, but because she had predicted this precise play. It was always black-on-black crime, always a justification for silence, for budget cuts, for cruelty. "Don't you dare," she said softly. "Don't you dare weaponize my community's pain to score points. You don't care about the kids in Chicago. You care about leverage." Linda's face turned to stone. The room was shifting. Jasmine stood not to leave, but to take the stage like a pulpit. "You talk about building businesses. But tell me, Linda, what did you build? Fantasy world of men hitting each other in tights, exploiting the poor and desperate for ratings. And when it collapsed, you got a golden parachute into government. Not because you earned it, because you were friends with the guy in charge." Linda rose too, her heels wobbling slightly. "You're a child," she spat. "You think fire is wisdom. It's not. It's noise. You can't legislate with fury." Jasmine's voice dropped low and firm. "I legislate with memory. I carry the faces of children who drink lead, of mothers who bury sons, of janitors who sleep in cars. You carry resentment. You think every young black-educated woman is a threat. And you're right, we are." The audience went still, not stunned, silent. Linda's face drained. "You think you're above reproach because of your skin?" she said, her voice cracking. Jasmine stepped closer, her voice gentle now. "I think you mistake power for virtue. I think you've lived in a mirror so long you believe your reflection is the world. But the world is changing. It's me. It's the daughter of a nurse, It's people who didn't start on third base pretending they hit a triple. Linda opened her mouth, then shut it. The air turned syrupy and thick. Reporters weren't taking notes anymore. They were staring. Jasmine turned slightly toward the audience. "They invited me here to be decorative," she said, "to soften the edges of their guilt, to smile politely while being dismissed. But I came here to tell the truth, and truth doesn't need permission." Linda's mascara had started to run, not in great rivers, but in tiny betrayals beneath her lower lashes. Her hands trembled, and she gripped the edge of her podium as if it could anchor her to a past that was slipping through her fingers. "I tried to give you advice," she whispered, barely audible, but Jasmine heard. "You think I don't know the cruelty of this town? I was a woman in a boardroom before anyone gave a damn. I've bled for every seat I ever got." Jasmine's voice softened too, not with sympathy, but recognition. "Then you should understand. Then you should know better." Linda looked away. Jasmine stepped back from the microphone and turned toward her. "You wanted to humiliate me. You wanted me small because small is what you're used to winning against. But I'm not going to give you that. And you know what?" She paused, not for effect, but because it was real. "I used to think people like you were invincible. But you're not. You're scared. And I see it." Linda sat back down slowly, like her legs had lost their strength. She stared at the floor as Jasmine returned to her seat. The moderator didn't speak. No one did. The cameras panned from face to face, hunting for cracks in the granite of reputation. And then it came, the tiniest sound, like glass under pressure. Linda was crying, silent, furious tears. She reached for a napkin, then stopped herself, realizing the gesture would only confirm what was already clear. The woman who once stood beside a president now sat shattered under the weight of her own tactics. As the gala broke into muted chatter and frantic PR triage, Jasmine collected her things with meticulous calm. No grandstanding, no victory lap. Just poise and quiet. But as she turned to exit, a hand reached out, Linda's, fingers trembling, lips pressed into a quivering line. "I didn't think you'd actually come for me like that," Linda murmured. Jasmine looked down at the hand but didn't take it. "I didn't come for you," she said. "I came for the truth. You just got in the way." Linda flinched. Around them, aides buzzed like startled hornets. Somewhere, a microphone was still live, catching every word. Jasmine walked toward the velvet curtain, back straight, heels echoing through the marble like thunder. And just before she disappeared into the wings, she stopped and turned, not toward Linda, but toward the audience. "Next time," she said, "invite someone you're ready to hear from. Or don't invite me at all." And with that, she was gone. No applause. Just the hollow sound of Linda McMahon, once untouchable, wiping her tears in a room full of people who had just seen the truth and didn't dare pretend otherwise. The green room backstage smelled of hairspray, leather briefcases, and tension. Jasmine Crockett stood alone by a standing mirror, dabbing at the corner of her eye, not from emotion, but irritation from the stage lights. Her aide, Marcus, hovered nearby, silent. "You didn't have to gut her like that," he finally whispered. Jasmine didn't look at him. "She didn't come for a debate, Marcus. She came to publicly try to put me in my place. She forgot the place has changed." Her voice was still cool, still measured, but her hands betrayed her, clenching, unclenching. Marcus handed her a bottle of water. "You know this is going viral already." Jasmine raised an eyebrow. The part where she blamed Chicago for everything, or the part where she cried? Marcus didn't answer. They both knew. As if on cue, a producer from C-SPAN burst in, holding her phone up like it was radioactive. "Your clip's already at 1.8 million views, and MSNBC wants a reaction quote from you. And Fox just issued a segment titled, 'Was Crockett Too Cruel?'" Jasmine scoffed. "Cruel?" she muttered. "She tried to lynch me with politeness and innuendo. I just snapped the rope." The door creaked. A suited man walked in, and Executive from the Liberty Foundation, his expression caught between panic and diplomacy. Ms. Crockett, can I speak with you privately? Jasmine gave Marcus a quick nod. I'll be 2 minutes, she said, then turned to the man with all the warmth of a closed fist. They entered a small lounge separated from the green room by a velvet curtain. The executive shut the door and lowered his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. Look, this whole thing with Linda, it got out of hand. She's a major donor. She funds half this organization's economic forums. Jasmine crossed her arms. Let me guess, you want me to issue a soft statement. Mutual? Respect? Emotions ran high, that sort of thing? He nodded quickly. Exactly, for optics, for unity. Jasmine tilted her head. You watched what she said. Do you want unity, or do you want silence? He hesitated. I want stability. Jasmine stepped forward. Then you should have asked her to behave like a grown-up instead of trying to publicly dress me down like I was a problem child. The executive sighed. This isn't about fairness, it's about relationships. And I'm telling you, McMahon's people are calling everyone. She feels betrayed, ambushed. Jasmine chuckled. She feels? Oh, now feelings matter. That's rich. She walked to the window, looking out at the DC skyline.